In the last section, our goal was to decide whether two fractions were equal. Well, that's still kind of the case now. But what to do if they're not? If you have two numbers, when you compare them, that means one has to be greater than or less than the other. And when we say we're going to determine who's greater than, who's less than, that's what we mean by comparing. Symbols. People forget the symbols. If I have the big number on the left and the small number on the right, I would want to say the big number is greater than the small number. The greater than symbol goes this way. The big number has the big side. It points to the smaller number. Not sure how you remember it. The alligator eats the big fish. I don't know. However you need to remember that, you need to remember that. If it's the small number first, you would say the small number is less than the big number, and the symbol goes the opposite way. Still points to the smaller number. Big side of the symbol is still next to the big number. However you need to memorize it, just make sure that you keep it straight. Now, when the numbers that we're supposed to be comparing are fractions, it may not be quite obvious which one's bigger, which one's smaller. So there's a whole bunch of different ways we can do this, but since we are with calculators, we can just change them both to decimals and decide. So if I change 4/9 to a decimal, that becomes 0.444. If I change 2/5 to a decimal, that decimal is just 0.4. It's 0.4, and that would be zeros after it if I went to 3 decimal places, even though the calculator won't tell me those. Well, which one's bigger? 0.4 or 0.444? Well, the 4's in tenths place are even, but when we go to hundredths place, 4 is bigger than 0, so 0.444 is greater than 0.400, which means that's the symbol I would use, that's the symbol they used. This first statement is true. 4/9 is larger than 2/5. So let's do that again. 3 divided by 5 is 0.6. 1 divided by 3 is 0.3 forever. To compare, start at tenths place, 0.6, 0.3. 0.6 is bigger, I would use this symbol. Point to the smaller, which means this is also true. If you'd like to pause this and try these on your own to make sure you know what you're doing, use it as a little self-quiz, feel free. And then you can always hit start when you've answered the next 3 and use this to check yourself. 4/7 as a decimal is 0.571. 9/10 is 0.9. Starting at tenths place, 0.9 is bigger. So again, this statement is true. 5/7 becomes 0.714. 3/4 is 0.75. In this case, 0.7s are even, the 5 is bigger, I would use that symbol. This time I'm not asked true or false, I'm just asked to make my own decision. Well, how I do that doesn't change. 8 divided by 11 is 0.727. 9 divided by 13 is 0.692. 0.7 is bigger than 0.6, so I would use a greater than symbol.